People often say that once you get older, you should live a more graceful life. But what if I told you that a few so-called guilty pleasures might actually be the very things that help you live longer and happier? Would you believe it? At an age when many choose silence and self-restraint, there are some sweet little secrets quietly nourishing our mental and physical well-being better than any supplement ever could. What may seem like reckless, pointless, or even a little rebellious, pleasures actually carry deep healing value, something modern psychology is increasingly recognizing. Whether it's eating dessert before dinner, rocking out to your favorite youth anthems, or spending hours chatting just for the heck of it, each of these actions triggers positive biological responses. They activate dopamine, stir up joyful memories, and most importantly, they remind us that we are still truly, fully alive. In today's video, we are going to explore 7 guilty pleasures that are not only perfectly okay to enjoy, but may actually be essential, before age or caution talks you out of experiencing the best parts of life. Stick around until the very end, because number 7 might just surprise you, and it might even be something you'll want to start doing right after watching this video. Before we dive in, drop a positive affirmation in the comments below as a way of committing to attracting more good into your life. Something like, I give myself permission to fully enjoy this stage of life, or feel free to share any intention that speaks to you. And do not forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel so you never miss content like this. Let's build a space full of positive energy to grow and thrive together. Now, let's jump into the 7 guilty pleasures you should start enjoying today, before it is too late. Number 1. Putting yourself first. Do you remember the last time you did something just for yourself? Not for anyone else? It might have been a long time ago. And maybe you have forgotten how freeing and light that feeling can be. For most of your life, you followed the shoulds. You should show up, you should help, you should stay quiet, you should set an example. But now, as the noise begins to fade and other people's schedules are no longer your priority, it is finally time for you to return to yourself. And no, this is not selfish. It is healing. I know, it is easy to say, but starting to live for yourself can be the hardest thing, especially if you have spent most of your life in the background. You were the supporter, the peacekeeper, the one who quietly made sure everything ran smoothly. And sometimes, you believed your worth came from making sure others felt comfortable. But now, you are no longer tied to those roles. And guess what? You still deserve a place in your own life, without needing anyone's permission, without having to prove a single thing. Choosing yourself can start with something as small as waking up one morning, not rushing into anything, just sitting quietly by the window and letting the morning sunlight touch your skin. An afternoon with no phone, no television, just you and a favorite piece of music. That moment when you pause in the middle of a task to take a deep breath and ask yourself what you truly need. The magic is, once you start treating yourself like someone who matters, something shifts. Your mind feels lighter, your breathing steadier, and most of all, you no longer feel like a side character in your own story. You realize you do not need to do anything more to be worthy. Your existence, along with all your emotions, desires, and interests, is already enough. I'm not saying you need to change everything, but just stop for a moment, listen a little deeper, and ask yourself one simple question. What do I want for me today? That one step is enough to begin a whole new chapter, a chapter of inner freedom, a chapter where you no longer live by other people's expectations, but by what brings you peace. Number 2, doing things that once seemed silly. There were things you once felt excited to try, but you pushed them aside because they were labeled silly or pointless. Maybe it was the dream of painting, even though you had only ever made a few pencil sketches. Or the moment you heard a guitar and felt this spark inside to learn, but then thought, at this age, people would laugh. Or maybe just once, you wanted to perform on stage, not for fame, just to live inside another story for a little while. Those dreams, small or fleeting, have quietly stayed with you, waiting for a chance to come alive again. Now, in this stage of life, free from old responsibilities, it is the perfect time to bring back what you once let go. Not to prove anything, but to reconnect with the young, curious spirit inside you, the one that got tucked away as life demanded you to be more serious. When you allow yourself to do something that was once called silly, you are giving yourself a powerful right. The right to have fun, to be creative, to explore like a child, without shame, without judgment. And here is the beautiful part. These very activities you once hesitated to try actually have a big impact on your mental health. When you paint, play music, or cuddle a small cat, your brain shifts into a different rhythm, softer, slower, more emotional. These experiences not only calm your nervous system, but also reawaken the areas of your brain linked to memory, joy, and creativity. They are a kind of nourishment that no supplement can replace. You do not have to be good at them. You just have to allow yourself to do them with honesty and joy. Every brushstroke, every chord you strum, every time you try reading lines from a script, each one is a small step toward coming back to yourself. No one else can understand how much that matters more than you, the person who once left those things behind, thinking they were no longer appropriate. But the truth is, the only limits that exist are the ones you set for yourself. Number 3, sleeping in and taking naps. You spent your life waking up early, for work, to make breakfast for the family, or just to avoid feeling like you were falling behind. Sleeping in was once seen as lazy or irresponsible, rarely as an act of self-care. But now, you are in a stage where your body's rhythm no longer has to compete with the world's. So sleeping a little longer, resting midday, or lying still without doing anything, it is not laziness. It is true healing. At this age, sleep is not just about pausing activity. It becomes a private space where your body begins to repair itself, where tired cells are nurtured, and where your mind gets to release hidden tension. Sleeping in might simply be your way of letting go of that old pressure to always be productive, something that followed you for far too long. No alarms, no rushing to get up, just letting your body decide when it is ready. That is a form of self-respect you may have never had the chance to give yourself before. Even a short nap, just 20 to 30 minutes, can calm your entire central nervous system. Studies show that naps like these can reduce the risk of stroke, improve short-term memory, and increase emotional balance. But even more than that, sleep becomes a sacred space for inner healing. It is the moment when you do not have to be strong for anyone, when no performance is required. In sleep, you are just yourself, natural, whole, and gently loved. Sometimes, what makes you feel tired is not age. It is the fact that you have never allowed yourself to truly rest. You keep trying to prove you are still strong, still useful, still able to contribute. But in truth, knowing when to pause and rest is the most valuable wisdom at this stage in life. When you allow yourself a bit more sleep, you are not giving up. You are choosing to live smarter and be kinder to yourself. Number 4, speaking from the heart. How many times have you stayed silent when you had something to say, just because you did not want to bother anyone, be misunderstood, or thought, what is the point of saying it now? Years of keeping quiet made you hold back even from your own emotions. Not because you could not feel, but because you learned to hide them as part of growing up. But at some point, do you realize what you do not say becomes a quiet wound that stays with you? Old age is not the time to keep holding back. It is the time to open up, to finally say the things you thought you would never get to say. Maybe it is, "I miss Mom," something you have carried for years. Maybe it is, "Thank you for always being there," to your partner. Or maybe it is simply saying, "I feel sad," "I feel lonely," or "I am not okay." These short phrases hold incredible power. They can free you from the emotional armor you thought kept you safe. Speaking from the heart does not mean you are weak. In fact, it is a sign of inner strength when you no longer fear judgment, no longer need anyone's approval. You say it because it matters to you, and often you do not even need anyone to respond. Because the truth is, when you open up honestly, the first person who heals is you. Maybe you have been waiting for someone else to speak first, but after a lifetime of experiences, you know that time does not always wait. If something is still sitting in your heart, now is the time to let it out. You might wonder, will saying this make someone uncomfortable? But trust me, sometimes honesty is what rebuilds fading relationships, what closes distances that once felt too wide. Words that carry true emotion, whether love, gratitude, or the need to be heard, are gifts, not just to the one receiving them, but also to you, because you chose not to let something beautiful be buried in silence, because you know there is nothing more regretful than letting love go unnamed. Number 5, shopping for yourself. There have probably been little things you once wanted to buy, just because they made you happy. Maybe it was a prettier ceramic mug, a soft scarf, or a bedside lamp with a warm glow. But you stopped yourself. You thought, do I really need this? Is this a waste of money? At my age, what is the point? Those questions were not really about being practical. They were the result of years spent living by the rule that everything had to be reasonable, necessary, and saved for someone else. But now, you do not need anyone's permission to create a bit of personal comfort. The truth is, the things you choose for yourself, based on your own emotions, are often the very things that bring new energy to your daily life. A cozy chair that makes you want to sit and read a little longer. A soft pair of pajamas that help you sleep better. A bottle of essential oil that fills your space with a scent you love. These are not luxuries. They are small ways you show yourself care and respect. You do not need to buy a lot. You do not even need to buy what others think is worth it. What you need is a connection between what you choose and how it makes you feel. It is the joy of using it, touching it, or simply seeing it in your living space. That kind of value does not come from logic. It comes from emotion. And at a certain age, it is your emotions that define the quality of life, not just the function or utility of things. When you spend money on yourself, you are creating a living space that reflects you, not just a house to exist in. You start choosing things based on the question, what do I like, instead of what will others think? And that shift, however small, brings a personal color back into your life, breaking the dullness of routine. Money cannot buy back time, but it can help you enjoy the time you still have. It can buy you a day with less back pain, a calmer breakfast, a tidier little corner in the house, a comforting scent, or just a fresh feeling. And all of that is absolutely worth investing in. Not to show off, not to prove anything, but simply because you deserve it. Number 6, enjoying your favorite foods. Have you ever eaten something you really loved, only to feel guilty afterward? Maybe thinking, I ate too much, or at my age, I should not eat like this, or this is not good for my health. If so, you are not alone. Many adults and older folks develop a complicated, even shameful, relationship with food, seeing it as indulgent or a lack of control. But the truth is, as we get older, eating is no longer just a biological act. It becomes a way to reconnect with joy, to nourish your emotions, and to feel alive through real, deeply human experiences. A good meal does not have to be fancy. Sometimes it is just a bowl of noodles you loved as a child, or a scoop of vanilla ice cream you have avoided for years, thinking it might spike your blood sugar. But what makes it meaningful is how you eat it, with presence and pleasure. You taste each flavor, feel the memories come alive, and in that moment, you are giving yourself permission to live more fully, more slowly, and more deeply. Because every meal does not just feed your body, it feeds your soul. What matters most is not what you eat, but how you feel when you eat it. If a dish makes you smile, feel comforted, or brings a sense of calm, then it is already doing something healing. Whether it is a hearty breakfast, a warm pastry, or a bowl of soup you made yourself. Each one can be a little emotional medicine if you truly savor it with appreciation. No one has the right to make you feel guilty for finding joy in food, especially when it is one of the most basic and honest pleasures in life. You do not need to force yourself into rigid eating rules if they cause you stress. Eat mindfully, yes, but also eat joyfully. And here is the beautiful part. When you eat with joy, without guilt, your body actually absorbs nutrients better. That positive emotion spreads not just to your taste buds, but to your immune system, your sleep, and your daily outlook. Every meal is a chance to reconnect with yourself in the gentlest way. It is not just about fuel. It is a reminder that you are here, you are alive, and you are allowed to enjoy something as simple and precious as satisfaction. Number 7. Traveling your way. Maybe you have thought about taking a trip but kept postponing it for the usual reasons. I will go when my kids are free. I need to save more money. Or, it feels weird to travel alone at this age. So the plans were pushed aside year after year until your dream of going somewhere new started to feel impossible. But here is the thing. The reason it never happened is not because you could not. It is because you once believed you did not have a good enough reason to go on your own. The truth is, you do not need to travel far. You do not need a passport. You do not need heavy luggage. Sometimes a simple walk through a park you have never visited, a spontaneous drive to a small countryside town, or just sitting at a different coffee shop in your city. These little changes can reignite your sense of wonder. These seemingly simple experiences wake up something important in you. The feeling of being alive, of moving, of being touched by something outside your usual routine. Getting older does not take away your desire to explore. It just makes you hesitate if you keep waiting for things to be perfect. But perfect does not mean having all the right conditions. It means being present in the journey. When you step out of your comfort zone, even just a little, you send a powerful message to your own mind. I still have curiosity. I still want to see the world, even if it is just through a new street or an unfamiliar sunset. Some journeys do not need a companion, because the most important person to travel with is you. You do not have to make anyone else happy. You do not have to stick to someone else's schedule. You do not need approval. You can stop whenever you like, change plans on a whim, and most of all, you get to listen to how you feel at every stop. Traveling, even just a short distance, is not just about changing scenery. It opens an emotional channel. It breaks you out of mental patterns that have been stuck for too long. And that, not the destination, is what truly gives a journey meaning. A solo bus ride to the suburbs, a quiet walk to the beach with no one inviting you. These moments may become memories you carry forever. Not because of what you saw, but because for the first time in a long time, you felt truly, vividly alive. Do not let your life end in quiet regret, just because you try too hard to be good. At the age when you are meant to live more boldly than ever before. The truth is, there is nothing wrong with wanting these things. What is wrong is missing them and missing yourself. At this age, you do not have to live up to anyone's expectations anymore. You do not need permission to feel joy, to dream, to soak up every little moment this life still offers. Getting older is not the end. It is the doorway into a new chapter, one where you finally get to put yourself first, to live from your heart, and to honor all the feelings and wishes you once kept buried. And sometimes, just allowing yourself to be a little naughty, a little guilty, can make life feel incredibly worth living again. If something in this video touched your heart, leave a comment below. It could be something as simple as, starting today, I will live true to myself. But who knows, maybe that one sentence will become the turning point for your most radiant days ahead. And if you want more deep reflections and soulful reminders to help you live fully every day, hit like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. We have so many beautiful things to explore together. Thank you for staying with me until the end. I hope you live every single moment to the fullest, with all the joy you so deeply deserve.